Hello, this is Noe Pineda talking about overcoming intercultural barriers. We're gonna summarize, the interview that we had last week on our PowerPoint presentation, and then going a little bit in depth of what we were able to, find in regards, the description. Talk a little bit of what happened in the interview, and also to talk a little bit of our similarities and differences that we had together, but also a big thing that we're going to talk about is the strategies that we are um, put on the daily basis, how we overcome with our culture, with our accent and stuff like that. So I'm going to start by describing Raquel. Raquel, mentioned that she has worked very hard to accomplish who she is and what she has become so far. The sacrifice that her parents and herself made until this day has pay um, a huge lesson. She expressed because she's able to pass that along to her kids, and so her kids can see where she come from, why she is so strict in regards the education they get provided over here. Because in her country, she said it was tough. I mean, it's Jamaica. It's a beautiful country, she mentioned, but of course, there's limited of stuff that they can do over there. So that's why they came over here to United States, to have a better opportunity in life, and also to have to get educated. Yeah, and she's doing great. So I'm happy for her. But now we're gonna talk about the questions that we asked, and I'm gonna be going back and forth on screens over here. So I apologize if I'm moving too much. The one of the questions, of course, we were being very basic of the questions that we asked. Where she was born, what brings her over here. And I know that I touched a little bit in her description, but she was born in St. Mary, which is north from Kingston, in Jamaica. So I told her, I asked her, okay, so you said your parents and you came over here, how old are you? She's mentioned, I was 18, when my dad and mother decided to come to the United States and start a new life, have, create a career path for themselves and for myself. So she was able to continue her education here, and she was able to accomplish better things, little by little, but at least she got a good education. Now she's working for one of the tops hospital is in Georgia. So I'm proud of her, and in her stories, such um, uh, words, I can even bring words, for how her story has impacted me. So I hope this this story can impact you too. Um, so like I was mentioning, her family decided to relocate for better opportunities, and continue her education. I asked her, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? She laughed because she was like, well, I'm a happy person. As you know, in Jamaica, we are the creators of reggae. I like food. So it's we touch a little bit of base about food. Of course, you can never go wrong with chicken. Uh, but like I said, she expressed the different dishes, and I was able to share some of mine as well. So we had a good conversation in regards food, music, religion. Of course, is very predominant over there, and as well where I grew up. of one of the things that kind of bring us together is the different dialects, or we can say languages that that countries that she was born in, or where she's from. They speak Patwa in Honduras. On the coast, they speak Garifuna. So it's very similar on things. So I was able to enjoy talking with her. But one of the things that had me a little saddened, because I can relate, is her adaptation. I was like, so it's a difficult for you to get used to the idea that you're not longer in Jamaica, and you have to you've been doing your life over here in the state of Georgia. And she said yes. I mean, one of the things that I really miss is the weather. Tropical weather, very hot. It rains. But it's not like the state of Georgia that you never know what kind of weather you're gonna get on the daily basis. Things like she mentioned is Mrs. Family that she still has there. The people that she grew up with, in fruits and food and stuff like that. So all good stuff she's missing, and I can relate on that. I mean, I don't have my family with me here. I mean, my family is my wife and my kids, and my wife's family. So it's sometimes it's hard, and you have to be to utilize any type of communication, Facebook, WhatsApp, stuff like that, to just to say hi to your family, in other countries. So like I said, we've been talking all along, since I started with her description till now. We find out that we have a lot in comparison, that we share of. Of course, we are both family oriented. Our parents, they came here. Well, she came here with her parents. Unfortunately, I didn't have that. My dad came first, and she was able to to provide for me when I was in a different country. And then I came over here. But I've so thankful for all the sacrifices that my father did, because he made me her distance in a way, made me a little bit stronger, and able to realize what life is without that role player. But when I came over here, I was able to show him that even though as a distance, excuse me, as a distance, I was able to have that legacy of the way that he was raised by my grandmother. Of course, fruits, similar dishes, stuff that we can relate. And of course, religion plays a big part of our culture. Stuff that I mentioned that we go on a daily basis, especially if, for me and her, is that having an accent. It sometimes people look you a little bit different. And so that's why we have to find a way to overcome the judgments, or the way that people look at us. So I was able to to go with her, and find her side, and I share mine. And it was funny because we were able to say, well, since we have an accent, we have to kind of slow down our pace, the way that we talk sometimes, because if we go blah 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 blah, nobody's gonna understand what we're saying. Something that helps me sometimes is trying to put a little bit more input on listening. And she was like, yeah, sometimes I have to kind of ask them to repeat it again. And sometimes I might sound like a broken record, but I need to know what they're really asking, for me to provide them a solution um, on where I work. So I was like, well, same here. If I don't listen what the clients wants, there's nothing that I can do for them. So we were able to to find that comparison there, and in a way to, to overcome, by listening and by slowing down our pace. And other things, that we were able to, find out is, if we, reduce, the noise levels. I mean, if there's a lot going on, but we having a little hard, time, to express, or find that person, tell us what they really want. If there's, too much conjunction, surrounding us, and having that, conversation, sometimes, can be a little bit difficult to either us, explain, what we want to say, or, the person, giving that undivided attention. And then, of course, the I want, one of the things, that I like is, flexibility, communication, um, organized, that it can, ensure that we are, having that um, connection, with people. So, that's, the stuff that I was able to find out with her. Active listening, reducing, the noise, levels, that way that we, can get, more focus on that. um, Too much information, if it can, throw, everybody off. So, like I said, slow down our pace. It was our big thing. So, as you can tell, I'm, a bit nervous, but I hope, the this video kind of emphasize, the topics, that were required for, week 3 assignment, overcoming intercultural um, barriers. So sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. But, this is it. I hope, if you have, feedback, questions, feel free to, to ask those. Well, I hope you have, a very good night. Take care.